Alex Carter's life was ordinary, painfully ordinary. He lived in a small, cluttered apartment in the middle of a sprawling city, where neon lights reflected off glass towers and the hum of hover traffic filled the nights. Every morning he woke, to the same sound, the soft beep of his alarm followed by the hiss of the coffee machine. He worked long hours in a quiet office, staring at screens and typing numbers into spreadsheets. Social life? Almost none. Friends? A handful, mostly colleagues. He barely knew. Romance? Non-existent. He liked it that way, or at least he told himself he did. But some nights, lying in bed staring at the ceiling, a dull ache of loneliness crept into him. That night, after another day of the same routines, Alex crawled under his blanket, closed his eyes, and let sleep claim him. What happened next was, unlike anything he could have imagined, Alex woke with a start. His room looked the same at first glance, the beige walls, the small desk, the stack of unopened mail. But then he noticed subtle differences. The faint hum of electricity was sharper, almost melodic, and the soft glow from the corners of the room seemed unnatural. A strange shimmer ran across the floor, almost like liquid metal, reflecting the light in impossible patterns. He rubbed his eyes and sat up. Something heavy pressed against his hand. Looking down, Alex froze. There was a ring, a glowing silver band embedded with tiny swirling lights, on his finger. He did not remember putting it there. A voice, smooth and commanding, echoed in his mind. "You are mine now." Alex blinked, heart hammering. "What the?" he whispered aloud. No one else was in the apartment, and yet the voice was real, tangible. The ring pulsed gently, as if reacting to his fear. Then the room began to shift. The walls melted like liquid, colors blending and swirling into shapes that defied logic. Alex felt himself being lifted from the floor. Gravity seemed to lose its hold. The last thing he remembered before being pulled into darkness was the strange calm in the voice. "Come. Your life has changed forever." When Alex opened his eyes again, he was no longer in his apartment. He was standing in a hall that defied description. The ceiling stretched far above, dotted with lights that looked like tiny stars. The walls shimmered like liquid crystal, and the floor seemed to float beneath him. His mouth went dry. Before him stood a figure, taller than any human, and impossibly beautiful. Her skin shimmered faintly like moonlight on water, and her eyes were a deep, radiant violet. Her hair floated around her head, weightless. She wore a gown that looked alive, shifting colors with every movement. Alex could only stare. "I am Lyris," the figure said, her voice both musical and commanding. "Queen of the Zarenthar Empire, and you are my consort." Alex's jaw dropped. "Wait, what? I don't understand." "You do now," Lyris said, stepping closer. Her gaze held him captive, and Alex felt a strange warmth spread through him, almost like the ring on his finger was connecting them. "You were chosen. By tradition, by law, by destiny. You are married to me." Alex laughed nervously. "Married? Me? You're an alien. I'm just human. This isn't real." Lyris tilted her head, a faint smile playing on her lips. "Real enough, Alex. You slept alone on your planet, and now you wake as the consort of an empire that spans millions of worlds. You cannot deny it. You are here. You are bound." Alex backed up, mind spinning. He felt like he had fallen into a dream or a nightmare. I just want to go home." "You can," Lyris said calmly. "But you must first understand what it means to be here. To leave now is to abandon your destiny and the lives that may depend on you." For the next several hours, or what felt like hours, Alex stumbled through the palace. Every corner was more magnificent than he could describe. Floating gardens that glowed softly, corridors lined with mirrors that reflected not only light but strange visions of other worlds, and beings of all shapes and sizes walking gracefully, paying him curious but respectful attention. He tried to speak to someone, anyone, about where he was, but the language of the Zarenthar came to him instantly. The Queen's power, or perhaps the ring, had gifted him comprehension. Every word, every gesture he understood without effort. Yet understanding did not make him feel less terrified. A small alien approached, bowing low. "Consort Alex, may I guide you?" "Yes." "Please," Alex said, trying to hide the trembling in his voice. The being led him through halls filled with knowledge and technology he could barely comprehend. Machines that defied gravity, glowing tablets showing data about galaxies he had never heard of, and creatures that seemed like living energy, all existed in harmony here. Alex wanted to ask questions, but his mind was clouded. How did I get here? Why me? Why now? Finally, he was brought to a chamber overlooking a galaxy. Stars and planets spun gracefully in the void, some of them glowing with strange colors. Queen Lyris joined him at the observation deck. "You are overwhelmed," she said, her hand brushing lightly against his arm. The touch was gentle, almost comforting. "That is natural. Few humans survive this first transition without fear. But you are stronger than you think you must be." Alex swallowed. "Stronger? How? I don't even know how to be a consort. A queen's husband. I don't even know what that means." "Then you will learn," Lyris said, smiling, faintly. "Our union is more than ceremony. It is partnership. You are human. That is your strength. You see solutions where we see none. You feel compassion where our logic is cold. You can do what no Zarenthar could ever do alone." Alex shook his head. "I'm not a hero. I'm not special. I'm me. Boring me." "You are extraordinary because you are human," she said firmly. "Your mind, your heart, they are what make you invaluable. The galaxy is vast, Alex. It is cruel and beautiful and terrifying. And now, you are part of it." As the hours passed, or was it minutes, Alex began to notice changes in himself. Fear and confusion still pulsed through him, but so did a strange curiosity. He watched alien ships glide across the void, witnessed holographic maps showing star systems, and heard of conflicts and alliances that spanned light years. It was overwhelming, and yet exhilarating. He turned to Lyris. "You really expect me to just fit into this? To be part of your empire?" "Yes," she said simply, "because you have no choice. You are here now, and soon you will realize that humans can do the impossible." The Queen extended her hand. Alex hesitated, then placed his hand in hers. A warmth spread through his body, a feeling unlike anything he had experienced. For the first time, he felt connected, not just to her, but to something bigger, something far beyond his ordinary life. Alex Carter woke fully to a world that made his apartment on Earth feel like a tiny, dull box. He was no longer alone, or even on his planet. The palace he had glimpsed before had stretched into something unimaginable. Towering crystal walls reflected countless lights, colors beyond human imagination, while the floor shimmered with strange energy, shifting beneath his feet as if alive. Queen Lyris stood before him again, her violet eyes studying him carefully. Her presence was overwhelming. She radiated power and authority, yet there was a calmness in her expression, a patience that Alex had never experienced from anyone on Earth. "You have awakened," she said softly. "Good. You must see your world now. The empire you are part of." Alex swallowed hard. "Empire? I don't understand. All of this, it's too much. I'm just a human. I don't belong here." Lyris tilted her head. "You belong wherever the ring chooses you, and it chose you. You are now my consort. That is law and tradition. Resistance is unnecessary." Alex shook his head. "I can't even understand half of what's going on. I didn't ask for this. I was asleep on Earth alone, and now I'm here. You were asleep on Earth, yes, Lyris said. But your destiny began the moment the stars noticed. You. That is how our traditions work. Some humans are compatible with our energies. You are one of them. That is why the ring found you. Alex looked down at the glowing band on his finger. Its soft pulses felt alive, almost as if it had a heartbeat of its own. Compatible? Energies? I feel like I'm dreaming. You are not dreaming, Lyra said firmly. Everything here is real, and soon you will see what it means to be human in a galaxy of possibilities. The hall around him seemed to ripple and shift. Walls melted into windows showing distant stars. Planets of green, blue, and crimson rotated gracefully in space. Ships of every imaginable design glided past, leaving streaks of light behind them. Alex's mouth hung open. Everything is so vast, he said, awe replacing his fear for a moment. I never even imagined anything like this. That is because your world is small, Lyris said gently. But size does not measure value, Alex. Humans are different. You may be small in the universe, but your species carries qualities no empire can ignore. Courage, compassion, ingenuity. That is why you are here. Alex swallowed hard, trying to understand. So, all of this is real. And I am married to you? Yes, Lyris said simply, extending her hand. You are bound to me by law, by tradition, and by the ring. You may not understand now, but one day you will see why this is necessary. For me, for my people, and for you. Alex hesitated, then took her hand. The touch sent a warm pulse through him, and suddenly he felt a strange connection, not just to her but to the ship itself, to the stars outside, to the lives scattered across the galaxy. Over the next few hours, or perhaps days, time seemed meaningless here. Lyris guided Alex through the palace. The corridors twisted and turned impossibly, some floating through space itself. Beings of every shape and form moved gracefully, some with multiple limbs, others with luminous bodies that pulsed with color. All paused briefly to bow or nod at Alex, murmuring words he understood automatically, even though he had never heard them before. It is the ring, Lyris explained. It bridges our thoughts. You may understand our language and culture without struggle, but comprehension is only the first step. You must also learn our ways. Alex's head spun. Learn your ways? I don't even know where to start. You start by observing, Lyra said. Then you act. You are human, Alex. That is your greatest strength. They entered a vast chamber filled with holographic maps, models of star systems, and floating data streams. Alex tried to focus, but it was overwhelming. Each star, each planet had a history, a culture, a purpose. He felt tiny, insignificant, but strangely excited. This is incredible, he whispered. How can one queen, or even one race, control all of this? Lyris smiled faintly. We do not control, we guide, but guidance is fragile. The galaxy is vast, filled with threats, rivalries, and conflicts. Even the most powerful can fail. That is why we need you. Alex laughed nervously. Me? What can I possibly do that all of you, these millions of beings, cannot? You think like a human, Lyris said. You see solutions we overlook. You feel empathy where we rely on logic. That combination is rare. And rare things change outcomes, you will see. The first time Alex truly realized his importance was during a briefing in the council chamber. Aliens of every form, some towering, some small, some that shimmered like living light, sat around a floating table. Lyris introduced him formally. Council of the Zerinthar Empire. This is my consort, Alex Carter. He is human, and through him, we gain perspective your logic cannot provide. The council murmured, some skeptical, some curious. Alex felt dozens of eyes on him, his stomach twisted. What do I say? He whispered to Lyris. Say nothing. Listen. Observe. Your words will matter when the time comes. The meeting discussed trade disputes, territorial negotiations, and intelligence reports about threats from rival alien factions. Alex tried to follow, but the sheer speed and complexity of their discussions left him dizzy. Still, he noticed something others missed, a subtle pattern in the movements of one alien fleet that hinted at a trap. He hesitated, then spoke. "Excuse me. I think that fleet over there. It's not where it says it is. I believe it's heading somewhere else entirely." The room went silent. Then Lyris's eyes widened slightly, a hint of pride flickering across her face. The council murmured again, some impressed, others skeptical. How did you know that?" one alien asked, incredulous. "I just thought about it differently," Alex admitted. "Maybe humans see things from a different angle?" Lyris smiled. Exactly. That small moment was a revelation for Alex. Perhaps humans really were capable of extraordinary things even in a galaxy far beyond Earth. Days passed, or maybe a few hours. Time seemed elastic. Alex began to adjust, learning customs that at first seemed absurd. He ate meals of floating, glowing nutrients that tasted strange but nutritious. He practiced rituals of greeting, where touching multiple points on the body conveyed respect and emotion. He learned to move gracefully in zero-gravity corridors and to communicate with telepathic flashes that made human speech feel slow and crude. There were mistakes, many mistakes. Once he accidentally insulted a noble by misplacing his hand during a formal bow. Another time he confused the direction of a ceremonial gesture, causing snickers in the audience. But he also had successes, offering solutions to logistics problems, calming disputes between rival factions, and solving puzzles that stumped even the most intelligent Zarinthar minds. The Queen observed quietly, her approval subtle but unmistakable. Alex began to feel a sense of purpose he had never known on Earth. He still missed his small apartment, his mundane routines, but here, he mattered. Then came the first test of true courage. During a diplomatic ceremony, a rival faction attempted an assassination. Blinding flashes of energy and sudden panic filled the room. Aliens scattered, shields flared, and Lyris was in danger. Instinct took over. Alex reacted faster than his mind could process, using the environment, the floating platforms, and the subtle movements of the attackers to shield Lyris and redirect the energy away from the crowd. Within moments, the threat was neutralized. Council stared at him, speechless. Lyris's hand brushed his arm once again, a silent acknowledgement of his courage. "You are learning quickly," she said. "Your humanity is your strength." Alex's heart raced. He still felt like a frightened man far from home, but for the first time he realized something important. He could be useful. Not in a lab, or an office cubicle, not even in Earth's small city. But here, in a galaxy full of wonders, he could make a difference. And perhaps, just perhaps, he could survive this life, no matter how alien it seemed. That night, Alex stood at the observation deck again, staring at the stars and planets swirling in the void. Lyris joined him quietly, her presence comforting. "You're thinking about Earth," she said softly. Alex nodded. "I miss it. But I think I'm beginning to understand why I'm here. I don't know if I'm ready, but maybe I can learn." Lyris smiled faintly. "You will learn, Alex, and one day you will see that humans are not just creatures of a small planet. You are capable of greatness beyond what you ever imagined." Alex looked out at the galaxy. For the first time, he didn't feel small. He felt part of something bigger, something extraordinary. And though fear still lingered, a spark of excitement ignited in his chest. He had been alone, asleep on Earth, and now he had awakened to a life he could never have imagined. A life bound to a queen, to an empire, and to a galaxy full of possibilities. Alex Carter had begun to adjust to life aboard the Zarinthar starship, but adjust was a generous term. Every day presented a new challenge, a new ritual, or a new rule he had no idea existed. Being human in a galaxy of super-intelligent, telepathic aliens was like trying to swim in an ocean of fire. Fascinating, confusing, and slightly dangerous. His mornings began with lessons in alien etiquette. The Queen insisted he learn the proper ways to bow, gesture, and communicate. One mistake could offend a noble, and in this empire, offense could be deadly. "Alex," Lyra said one morning, her violet eyes sparkling with amusement. "Remember, when you greet a council member, your left hand must hover above your heart while your right hand points toward the ground, but never directly at their head, and your thoughts must remain calm. Anxiety is obvious." Alex tried. He really did. But when he approached a small, four-limbed diplomat, he flailed his hands wildly, trying to follow instructions. The diplomat blinked, a faint shimmer of irritation pulsing from him. Alex froze. "Sorry," he muttered. I'm human. We don't, do this." Lyris's lips twitched. "Yes, we noticed, but you will learn. Humans are amusing to watch, yet capable of brilliance." Next came the lessons in telepathy. Zarinthar didn't just speak, they communicated thoughts directly. A thought could convey emotion, intention, or warning faster than any words. Alex found it difficult. Thoughts were messy. They jumped around, tangled, and sometimes contradicted each other. He was in the meditation chamber with two instructors, both hovering, slightly above the ground, their luminous bodies glowing softly. "Focus," one said. "Clear your mind. Open yourself. Do not resist the connection." Alex tried. He concentrated. A moment later, his thoughts exploded into the room, a jumbled mess of panic, hunger, and mild confusion about breakfast. The instructors blinked, clearly unsure how to respond. "You are uniquely human," one finally said. "We will adapt." Alex groaned. Uniquely human indeed. Despite the challenges, Alex began to notice that humans had strengths even here. Where the Zarinthar relied on rigid logic, Alex's creativity and intuition often solved problems others could not see. One day, he was brought to the planning chamber, where holographic maps displayed a cluster of contested star systems. The council debated endlessly, discussing fleets, supply lines, and politics. Alex listened carefully. Something nagged at him. The enemy fleet was moving, but subtly, in a way the Zarinthar had overlooked. He hesitated, then spoke. "The fleet. They're not going where your maps say. They're using the asteroid belts as cover. If you anticipate their path, you can avoid a direct clash." The room went silent, all eyes turned to him. Lyris's expression softened into approval. "Explain, Alex." He did, describing the path, the timing, and a simple tactic the council could use. The Zarinthar were astonished. Many of their advanced sensors had missed it entirely. You humans think differently," one elder said finally, a hint of admiration in his voice. "Perhaps this is valuable." Alex felt a small thrill. For the first time, he realized that being human was not a weakness. It could be a strength. Humor also played a role in his adjustment. Eating was a constant source of embarrassment. The Zarinthar did not chew in the way humans did. Food floated into their mouths, glowing and nutrient-rich. Alex often missed entirely, dropping glowing orbs onto the floor. Once he accidentally launched one across the chamber, hitting a dignitary squarely in the chest. The room fell silent. Sorry?" he said, red-faced. Lyris's lips twitched again. "It is amusing," she said softly, "but you will learn." Even the language caused trouble. Certain words conveyed subtle emotions, and Alex would mispronounce them, causing faint gasps or even tiny sparks of offense. Each mistake was a lesson in humility, patience, and resilience. Political intrigue was another challenge. Not all Zarinthar welcomed a human consort. Some saw him as a threat, a novelty, or worse, a pawn. Alex had to navigate subtle rivalries, whispered plots, and debates that could turn violent in an instant. One day during a council session, a high-ranking noble, Karen, questioned Alex's role openly. Why is a human interfering in imperial decisions? Does the Queen not see that this is absurd? Alex swallowed. He could feel the tension radiating from Lyris, the council members, even the guards. He took a deep breath. I am here not to replace your wisdom, he said. Voice steady despite the nerves. I am here to offer a perspective that might help, nothing more. But even small differences in thinking can prevent disaster. Karen's eyes narrowed, but the Queen nodded. Humans have surprising capabilities, she said. We will see if this one proves useful. Alex also began forming bonds with some of the court members. One was a small, energetic creature named Tira, whose body shimmered like liquid silver. She was fascinated by humans and often spent hours asking Alex questions about Earth, about music, food, sports, and even emotions. You have such strange rituals, Tira said one afternoon. Why do humans need objects called phones? Alex laughed. Phones let us communicate instantly across distances. They're slow and fragile compared to your tech, but they're human. Tira tilted her head. You are fascinating. Perhaps humans are more adaptable than we expected. Alex smiled, feeling a spark of pride. He realized that not all Zarenthar viewed him with suspicion. Some were genuinely curious and even friendly. But life was not just lessons and humor. Danger lurked in the galaxy, and Alex began to understand that his decisions could have consequences far beyond himself. During a simulation exercise, a rival faction launched an ambush. The holographic enemy fleet moved unpredictably. The Zarenthar officers hesitated, unsure how to respond. Alex analyzed the data quickly. If we retreat along this vector, then flank here, we can neutralize their advantage, he said, pointing at the holographic map. The officers murmured. One tested his plan. It worked perfectly. The simulation ended with the enemy defeated, and Lyris looked at him with approval. You see, Alex, she said, even in a galaxy of advanced beings, a human mind can be decisive. Alex felt a thrill he had never known on Earth. Here, he mattered. Here, his thoughts, his instincts, and even his mistakes shaped outcomes that could affect millions of lives. Even sleep offered lessons. He dreamed of Earth sometimes, of streets, apartments, and coffee shops. But the dreams were different now, intertwined with stars, alien worlds, and the pulse of the ring on his finger. He was no longer the lonely human from before. He had a purpose, a role, and responsibilities, and somewhere deep inside a tiny spark of pride grew. Maybe he could survive this. Maybe he could thrive. Maybe humans really could stand among the stars, not just as guests but as equals, even heroes. By the end of the week, Alex had settled into a fragile rhythm. He could bow correctly, pass a few telepathic tests, and even impress the council occasionally. Yet he never lost the sense of wonder. Every hallway, every chamber, every glance at the galaxy beyond the windows reminded him that he was far from home. One evening, Lyris found him at the observation deck, staring at a binary star system spinning far below. You are adapting, she said softly. Faster than I expected. I'm trying, Alex said, but I still feel small. There's so much I don't know, so much I can't understand. You will learn, she said, and you will teach us as well. That is the gift of humans. You see what others cannot. You act where others hesitate. You feel where others are blind. Alex looked at her. And if I fail? You will not fail, she said simply, because being human is more powerful than you realize. Alex Carter had gone from sleeping alone on Earth to standing among aliens, learning their ways, navigating their politics, and beginning to understand his role in an empire that spanned millions of worlds. He had stumbled, laughed, and even embarrassed himself countless times. But he had also proved that a human mind, a human heart, and a human spirit could make a difference where even the most advanced beings struggled. Alex Carter had settled into life aboard the Zaranthar starship, but comfort did not mean ease. Every day brought new lessons, new expectations, and new dangers. The galaxy was vast, and being a human in it was like being a single note in a massive symphony. Yet, for the first time in his life, Alex felt that his voice could matter. The first change he noticed was his relationship with Queen Lyris. It had grown beyond fear and formality. She had started to speak with him, not at him, inviting his opinions, valuing his perspective, and even laughing at his awkward jokes. Alex discovered that beneath her regal demeanor, Lyris was thoughtful, curious, and burdened by the weight of ruling millions of lives. "Alex," she said one evening as they floated above a glowing nebula, the stars reflecting off her shimmering gown. "Do you understand the responsibility of what you are part of?" Alex hesitated. "I think so, but it's bigger than anything I've ever known. I still feel small." "You may feel small," Lyris said softly, "but you have already changed outcomes. You saw the threat the Council missed, solved problems that would have escalated conflicts, and saved lives in ways we never expected. You are human, and that makes you extraordinary." Alex looked at her, the weight of her words sinking in. For the first time he realized that his humanity, something he had always thought of as ordinary, was now a tool, a weapon, and a gift all at once. The next challenge came quickly. A distant star system had sent a desperate plea for help. Pirates and rival factions were closing in, threatening the lives of millions on a mining planet rich in resources critical to the Zaranthar Empire. Lyris turned to Alex. "This is a situation that requires creativity. Logic alone will not suffice. I need your perspective, human." Alex swallowed. "You want me to lead?" "Yes," Lyris said firmly. "You will advise, and your ideas will be tested. This is more than ceremony, Alex. Lives are at stake." Alex felt a surge of fear. He had never commanded anything more complicated than a team at his office back on Earth. Now entire star systems were counting on him. But beneath the fear, excitement sparkled. This was the moment he had been unknowingly preparing for. Where being human could truly matter. He studied the star maps, fleets, and intelligence reports. The enemy pirates were cunning, hiding in asteroid belts, using cloaked ships, and exploiting the weaknesses of standard Zaranthar strategy. The Council debated endlessly, each solution more complex and slow than the last. Alex listened, then spoke. "If we use decoy ships to draw them into a specific path," he began, pointing at the holographic projection, "and then block their escape with automated drones, we can minimize casualties and force them to surrender. The trick is to act unpredictably, something they won't expect." The Council fell silent. Then Lyris nodded. "Explain further, Alex." He did, step by step, using human logic and intuition, combined with alien technology. His plan was simple, yet effective. It relied not on overwhelming power but on ingenuity, deception, and careful timing, something the Zaranthar rarely considered. The Council tested his plan. To their surprise, it worked perfectly in simulation. Even the skeptics, who had doubted a human's judgment, were forced to admit his brilliance. The next phase involved real action. Alex was given command of a small strike team aboard a Zaranthar cruiser. The journey to the mining planet was tense. He worked closely with the crew, issuing instructions, listening to alien advice, and adjusting plans on the fly. At first, the crew was skeptical of a human leading them. But Alex had learned quickly. Respect is earned, not given. His calm under pressure, willingness to listen, and clever problem-solving slowly won over the crew. When the pirates attacked, the battle was chaotic. Cloaked ships appeared from every angle. Energy beams streaked across space. The Zaranthar were experienced, but Alex's strategies gave them the upper hand. He anticipated the enemy's moves, repositioned the fleet, and used decoy ships to create confusion. Within hours, the pirates were cornered. Alex held his breath as the final surrender came through. His heart pounded not with fear, but with pride. They had done it. He had led them. He had saved countless lives. After the battle, the Queen met him on the observation deck, overlooking the repaired star systems. "You did well," she said softly. "Far better than I expected. You see patterns we overlook, solutions we cannot imagine. You are human, and that is your greatest strength." Alex shook his head. "I was lucky, and I had help. I couldn't have done it alone." "No," she said, "you could not. But you contributed something no one else could. That is human ingenuity. That is why you are here. That is why you matter." For the first time, Alex felt a deep bond with Lyris, not just as a queen or a partner, but as someone who understood and trusted him. The fear he had felt when he woke up on the starship was gone, replaced by something stronger: confidence, purpose, and even affection. In the following weeks, Alex continued to grow. He studied alien politics, meditated to sharpen his telepathic skills, and learned about the culture of planets far beyond human reach. Each day, he discovered new ways his human instincts complemented alien logic. Where they hesitated, he acted. Where they overthought, he simplified. Where they doubted, he hoped. One day, Tira, the small silver creature who had become his friend, approached him. "Alex," she said, "humans are strange. You feel fear, but you still act. You doubt, but you still lead. Why?" Alex smiled faintly. "I don't know. Maybe it's because we have to. On Earth, we survive with what we have. Maybe that's what makes us adaptable. And maybe that's why I'm here." Tira's eyes glowed with admiration. "I think the Empire underestimated humans." Alex chuckled. "That seems to be a trend. But the galaxy was not just full of wonder, it was full of danger." Alex soon uncovered a conspiracy that threatened the entire Empire. A faction within the Council had been secretly working with external enemies aiming to destabilize the Queen's rule and seize control of key star systems. The discovery was accidental. Alex had been analyzing communications patterns, noticing discrepancies that no Zaranthar had questioned. At first, he hesitated. He was just human. What could he do against centuries of political experience? But he remembered the lessons he had learned. Ingenuity, empathy, and courage could outweigh raw power. He shared his findings with Lyris. Her expression was grave. "If this is true," she said, "we could lose entire sectors. Millions of lives could be at stake. We must act carefully, Alex. And quickly." Alex felt the familiar rush of fear, but it no longer paralyzed him. Instead, it focused him. "We can stop them," he said. "We need to anticipate their moves, cut off their support, and expose them without creating panic. I think I know how." For the next several days, Alex worked tirelessly. He coordinated small teams, sent subtle messages, and used alien technology in ways it had never been used before. His human creativity turned the Empire's bureaucratic systems into tools for surveillance and intelligence gathering. Slowly, the conspiracy unraveled. When the traitors attempted to act openly, Alex and Lyris were ready. Using both strategy and diplomacy, they neutralized the threat without bloodshed, proving that humans could use intellect and intuition to avoid unnecessary conflict. The Council was shocked. The Queen's trust in a human, something they had doubted, had saved the Empire. Alex, the once lonely human from Earth, had prevented a catastrophe on a galactic scale. After the crisis, the Queen invited Alex to the palace gardens, a floating sanctuary filled with glowing plants and soft, drifting lights. She approached him, her eyes warm and proud. "You have done more than survive," she said. "You have proven that humans can influence the galaxy in ways we never imagined. You have grown, Alex, and so has your understanding of yourself." Alex looked out over the gardens, the stars beyond, and the Empire he had helped protect. I never thought I could do any of this. Back on Earth, I was small, invisible, alone. And now, I'm here, helping to save worlds. It feels unreal. It is real, Lyris said softly. And it is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, Alex. Challenges will come, but you have proven that humanity is capable of meeting them. That is why you were chosen. That is why you are extraordinary. Alex smiled, feeling a sense of belonging he had never known. The fear, the confusion, the doubt. They were still there sometimes, but now tempered with confidence, pride, and purpose. He was human, yes, but he was also something more. A partner, a protector, and a bridge between worlds. For the first time, Alex Carter truly understood what it meant to be human in the galaxy. Humans were small, fragile, and limited, but their courage, ingenuity, and compassion could reshape destinies. Alex Carter had grown far beyond the lonely human who had slept alone on Earth. He was now a trusted consort of Queen Lyris, a strategist, and a bridge between humans and the Zarinthar Empire. Yet the galaxy remained unpredictable. Challenges waited in the shadows, and Alex was about to face his greatest test. It began with an urgent alert. The sensors of the Empire had detected a massive fleet from a rival species approaching unannounced. Intelligence suggested it was a coordinated attack, aimed not just at the Zarinthar Empire but at destabilizing several allied systems. Casualties could number in the millions if they were not stopped. Lyris turned to Alex, her violet eyes serious. This is unlike anything before. The enemy is ruthless and highly coordinated. We will need more than our usual strategies to survive. Alex swallowed. The weight of responsibility pressed on him, but he had faced fear before, and survived. Then we need a plan that they won't expect, he said. Something unconventional, something human. Lyris smiled faintly. Yes, that is why you are here. Lead us, Alex. Alex spent hours in the war room, analyzing every piece of intelligence. The enemy fleet moved in ways no Zarinthar tactician anticipated, using decoys, false signals, and complex maneuvers. But Alex noticed patterns hidden in their communications, subtle hints that revealed their strategy. They're assuming we will act with brute force, Alex said, pointing to the holographic display. They don't expect creativity. If we use diversionary fleets, combine stealth tactics, and anticipate their maneuvers, we can neutralize them before they reach our planets. The council looked skeptical. A human's plan? One elder asked. We have advanced sensors, fleets, and centuries of experience. What can a single human do? Alex met their gaze. I may be human, but humans see differently. Logic is important, yes, but intuition, empathy, and unpredictability, those are our strengths. Trust me, or we risk losing everything. Lyris's hand brushed his arm, silently affirming her trust. The council reluctantly agreed. The battle began in the void near the edge of the Empire. Thousands of ships clashed, energy beams streaking through space, and explosions lit up the darkness. Alex, aboard a command cruiser, coordinated movements, issued orders and adjusted tactics in real time. He watched enemy ships slip through asteroid belts, but he anticipated their paths. He directed smaller Zarinthar cruisers to block escape routes, while decoy ships created confusion. The enemy, expecting traditional tactics, stumbled against Alex's human strategies. Even the most experienced Zarinthar officers admitted that his decisions were brilliant. He thinks like no one else, one murmured. Unexpected, unpredictable, and effective. Midway through the battle, a critical moment arrived. A section of the enemy fleet targeted the capital world, threatening millions of innocent lives. Zarinthar defenses were strong, but not enough to repel the attackers without massive casualties. Alex took a deep breath. He remembered the lessons of humanity: courage, empathy, and ingenuity. He devised a risky plan. Using cloaked ships as bait, he lured the enemy fleet into a trap near a gravity well. Then, with precise timing, he activated energy nets that immobilized the attackers without destroying them. It was dangerous. Any miscalculation could destroy both fleets. His hands trembled slightly as he issued the commands, but the gamble worked perfectly. The enemy ships were caught, their attack neutralized, and the capital world remained safe. Lyris's eyes shone with pride. "You did it, Alex," she said softly. "Your humanity has saved countless lives today." The battle continued, but Alex's strategies gave the Zaranthar the upper hand. They captured enemy leaders, dismantled the remaining fleets, and secured victory without unnecessary destruction. Across the Empire, celebrations erupted as news spread of the human who had guided them to triumph. Alex, exhausted but exhilarated, finally allowed himself a moment of reflection. He had gone from sleeping alone on Earth to saving millions of lives across the galaxy. He had navigated alien politics, mastered foreign customs, and earned the trust of beings far more advanced than himself. And he had done it not with raw power or superior technology, but with human ingenuity. After the battle, Lyris invited Alex to stand beside her on the observation deck of the palace. The galaxy stretched before them, calm and glittering after the storm of conflict. "You have proven yourself," she said, her voice soft and proud. "Not just to me, but to the entire Empire. Humans are no longer seen as insignificant. They are respected." Alex shook his head, smiling faintly. "I just did what I had to do. I'm still human. I make mistakes. I doubt myself. I never thought I could do all this." "You underestimated yourself," Lyris said firmly. "Humans are extraordinary, Alex. You are extraordinary. Your courage, creativity, and compassion saved worlds today. That is why you were chosen and why the galaxy will never forget your name." Alex felt warmth spread through him. For the first time, he truly believed it. Being human was not a limitation. It was a strength. The council formally recognized Alex's contributions. They praised him for ingenuity, leadership, and bravery. The skeptics who had doubted him were forced to acknowledge the truth. Humanity's perspective, intuition, and empathy could accomplish what even the most advanced alien minds could not. Alex found himself smiling more than he had in years. He remembered lonely nights on Earth, staring at the ceiling, wishing for something more. Now he had more than he could have imagined. A purpose, a role, and the respect of an empire. Even Tira, his silver friend, floated nearby. "Alex," she said, "I always knew humans were special. But this is beyond anything I expected." Alex chuckled. "I guess we really are full of surprises." Life slowly returned to a new rhythm. Alex continued to learn, grow, and lead. But he also discovered joys he had never known. He explored alien worlds, tasted foods that glowed and shifted flavor, and experienced cultures and wonders that made Earth feel like a distant memory. Yet, he never forgot where he came from. Queen Lyris and Alex spent more time together, not just as ruler and consort, but as partners. They shared thoughts, dreams, and quiet moments above the stars. Alex discovered that love, like courage, could transcend species, worlds, and tradition. "You have changed me too," Lyris said one evening, as they floated above a nebula, its colors swirling like living fire. "Your perspective, your humanity. It reminds me that even the strongest leaders need hope, empathy, and heart. You have taught me as much as I have taught you." Alex smiled. "And you've taught me that humans can matter anywhere, even among stars, empires, and aliens. I never imagined I could be part of something like this." "You are more than part of it," Lyris said. "You are essential to it. And to me." Alex Carter, the once lonely human from Earth, had transformed. He had faced fear, cultural challenges, political intrigue, and interstellar battles. He had stumbled, laughed, and even embarrassed himself countless times. Yet he had survived and thrived, proving that humans, small, fragile, and limited, could achieve greatness in a galaxy full of wonders. Humans were not just creatures of Earth. They were thinkers, creators, leaders, and heroes. and Alex had become the embodiment of that truth. As he gazed at the stars, he realized something profound. The galaxy had once seemed too vast, too strange, too dangerous. Now, it was full of possibilities. He was human. He was brave. He was ingenious.